good when you come out of university. So it depends on the person, really. Well, my old man always says, always leave a little bit of bread in the fish's mouth. And what that means is don't ever be too greedy. You know, especially if you're doing long-term deals with partners. Price them in competitively, you know, always deliver for your partner so they come back. And you look at our partners, people like Sky Sports, who've been working with for over 20 years. You know, we've got a fantastic track record. Um, so really, that's the key thing, and I think you know, I've always had drummed into me a great sort of working ethic, which is just work themselves. We've got a gym in the office. You know, we would like to keep everyone fit, keep their mind active. In terms of my proudest achievements, I mean, every show that I put on that's sold out gives me a huge amount, a huge buzz. Darren Barker winning the world title in America meant a lot to me. Carl Froch beating Lucian Bute to recapture the world title meant a lot to me. You know, so a lot of different experiences. I worked in golf for 4 or 5 years, managing golfers on a PGA tour. You know, some kind of performances they put in on a Sunday, you know, live on uh, across America and on Sky Sports. They were great times as well. So really, I think it's about, you know, the show itself, and also working with people and helping them achieve their dreams, like fighters, and that gives you a huge amount of buzz because you know, you're part of the team, you're part of the roller coaster, and you're a pivotal part of making it all happen. I mean, so leader within the sports industry, I think it's more important to be a leader within your organisation and your network, because at the end of the day, you've got to motivate your team, and if your of different projects that we work on that have been successful all over the years. But if you don't innovate, if you don't change them, you know, whether it's prize fights or whether it's the Moscow Cup, or whether it's the Premier League darts, you've always got to grow with the times. You know, and people's attention spans now, particularly on TV, are shorter than ever because they're multitasking. You know, long gone are the days where you sit in front of a TV for 2 or 3 hours and just watch sport without moving. You know, and now people are tweeting, people are gambling. You know, everybody's multitasking, so they need, you know, quick fixes and things like prize fights or things like 2020 cricket is designed to cater for those people who are fast-paced and who do multitask and whose attention span might not be as great as the older generation who would happily sit there and watch a 5-day test match. So you have to change with the times. You have to change with the cultures, and I think that's probably the key to run a successful business. Yeah, my old man, I mean, he's been a leader in the sports marketing industry for a long time. Obviously, those before him, the Mark McCormack general, not just in sport, you know, people that put on these huge festivals and people that put on these huge pop music concerts. I admire them all because I know how much work is involved, but ultimately standing there in front of a packed out stadium or packed out arena is what gives us in the business the buzz, as well as winning. You know, the people you're involved with. So, you know, it's anyone's